Welcome everyone to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purpose of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please push the person button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphone turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak. Those attending virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais and you will be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like to call the meeting of March 19th, ALRC, to order at 5:36 p.m. Do we have any notified absences tonight?
Yes, Alders Knox and Martinez Rutherford are both notified absences.
Okay. Can we do roll call, please?
Sure. Alder Revere?
Here.
Alder Revere is here. Mr. Bruchuk? Here. Ms. Bruchuk is here. Ms. Farley?
Present.
Ms. Farley is here. Ms. Westra?
Here.
Westra is here. And Ms. Carter?
Present.
Ms. Carter is here. Chair, we have quorum.
Excellent. Up next, we have the approval of the minutes from the February 19th, 2025 meeting of the ALRC.
Move approval.
Do I have a second for approval? Second for Mr. Bruce.
Second.
Any discussion? Changes? Seeing none. Meeting minutes from February 19th are approved. Approval of the minutes for the February 26th meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a approval and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, those meeting minutes are approved. Jim, do we have any public comment tonight?
We have no registrants for public comment.
Okay. At this time, members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Do we have any disclosures or recusals this evening? Okay, see none, moving along. At this time, we will do the presentation of the consent agenda. Jim, if you could read that off for us, that would be great.
Sure. So the proposed consent agenda, excuse me, for March 19th, 2025 is recommended to council to grant operator license application item number 2, a temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, item number 5, and a recommendation to the Common Council to re-refer item number 14. It's a resolution that would be referred until the June 18th, 2025 ALRC meeting. And to go back, the temporary Class B retailer license would be a recommendation to grant for council meeting next week, not the council meeting that the rest of the items for today are going to go.
Okay, great. Any discussion or removals from the consent agenda?
Can I just ask
Mr. Bruchak.
what the plan is for item 14? So is the plan for the June 18, 25 ALRC meeting? Is it the will of the committee that to review this again?
We had talked about it in January, and the idea was to refer it to a couple months, which is 2 months, which is now. The sponsor of the resolution asked about it coming back in May because they're waiting for a place of last drink study to come out from, I think, the Wisconsin Alcohol Policy group. I asked, since May is our renewal agenda, to refer it to June, and the sponsor was amenable to that.
Okay. So what would happen if we took a vote on this today and the committee, there would not a majority of the committee voted to recommend to council? It would be still forwarded to council with no recommendation. Is that right? Or would it not go to council at all? Would it just die here?
I think the way that council is they have it scheduled to come back. Like, they don't need to wait for the committee to send something back to them. They can always just consider it.
Okay. And the
See Assistant City Attorney Zillaby has her hand up, so I would definitely defer to Assistant City Attorney Zillaby.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say that I think what you saw in January was the same ordinance draft that had been out there previously. And the Alder is gathering some more information, and I believe there will be a redraft by the time you take it up again. So it's not just looking at what you looked at before. There will likely be a redraft.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the things that we had said when we referred it, is we would like to see a different version of this, if possible.
Right. Yep.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, I'm concerned about this because the way it was originally presented to us was very biased towards certain neighborhoods in the city. They came back with a draft, and now you're saying there's a third draft. So I'm very concerned with the motive of this resolution.
So we still need a motion on the consent agenda.
Move approval with the recommendations as listed.
Okay,
Second.
and we have a second. Any objections to approval of the consent agenda? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved with the recommendations written. Can you read this off officially, please? Sure.
So the past consent agenda for ALRC meeting March 19th, 2025. Recommended council to grant item number 2, operator license application for Stormy R. Lewis. That was a recommendation to approve from the ALRC operator subcommittee. Item number 5, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit from the Dudgeon Monroe Neighborhood Association. The event is Strictly Discs Record Store Day. This is going to be recommended to grant to the March 25th, 2025 council meeting in order to be issued in time for the event. And recommended council to re-refer item number 14, amend section 38.05 para 9 para A and create 38.05 para B and para C of the Madison General Ordinances related to Class A and Class A alcohol beverage licenses, to impose geographic limitations on Class A and Class A license applications considered by the Common Council after adoption of this ordinance for purposes of regulating density of such alcohol beverage licenses. And this is to refer to the June 18th, 2025 ALRC meeting as requested by the resolution sponsor.
Thank you. Up next, we have 2 items for interpretation, so we will move those up in the agenda and take those first. The first item will be item number 7, public hearing for new license for Ichiban Szechuan Madison LLC at 610 South Park Street. Do we have anyone registered for this?
Yes. Yasu Wang is registered and I'm not, oh, maybe.
I see a Jenny Wang.
Yeah, Jenny Wang. Holly, before we begin, can I have you raise your right hand, affirm you will accurately interpret Mandarin to English and English to Mandarin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yuzu Wang, if you could introduce yourself and tell us what you are planning to do at Ichiban with the Class B, Class C wine license that you are applying for tonight.
那跟我们详细解释一下，说一下你打算在 Ichiban 就是怎么个用你的 B 级啤酒和 C 级葡萄酒的这个执照。
我们只是在卖呀，就是那种 selling 卖呀。啊，他能听到我讲话吗？又按了。
Yeah, so we plan on just we plan on just selling the alcohol.
看到我。
Okay, just a couple questions just off the bat. Did you get a chance to contact and meet with the neighborhood association? I see that you contacted, and we have an email from your alder, so that was taken care of.
那首先要问一下，你有没有跟你的邻里协会联系？因为我们这里已经收到一封从你的市议员收到的信件，所以这个我知道你跟他有联系过。
啊，我们已经做了。
Yeah, we did that.
And did you contact the police department district captain?
然后有没有和你的区域的警局队长联系？
有
Yes,
区域的队长，也做了。
yes, we the district captain. Yes, we did.
Thank you. Thank you. Committee, any questions for the applicant, Ms. Carter?
那有没有什么问题要问申请人的？
What neighborhood association did you contact?
那你是跟哪一个邻里协会联系的？
他说哪个邻里协会联系啊？等我一下，我要看一下，我名字忘记了那个。
Hang on, I gotta find the name of it. I can't remember.
Okay, you look for that, and then I have another question. I see on your application, you have crossed out part of the menu. Is that what you're not going to be serving, or is this a previous menu?
那么你在找的这段时间，还有另外一个问题要问，就是你传上来的菜单一部分是就是打叉叉叉掉的，那么你是不是指这一部分的菜单你将不将供应，还是 这个只是旧的菜单。
不将供应。
Yeah, we will not be serving that part.
Okay. Okay, then my other question for you is that you said you were going to be serving liquor, and on your application it says beer and wine.
另外一个问题是在申请表格上面你写你将是有供应烈酒，但是勾的时候只是写了啤酒和葡萄酒。
哦，我们没有供应烈酒，我们就啤酒跟那个wine。
Yeah, we're not going to be serving. We don't serve liquor. We are only providing beer and wine.
Okay, thank you.
好，谢谢。
Committee, are there any other questions for the applicant?
那对这个申请人有没有什么其他问题要问的？
没有。
Okay, seeing none. Committee, what's your pleasure? Mr. Burshak.
Well, I
没有什么
suppose,
其他问题了。
yeah, I was gonna move approval. But I'd be willing to research any previous conditions.
我想提出批准的动议。
Jim,
So I guess I'll make that move. I'll make that motion and then amend it if I find something.
okay.
那么我先提出批准的动议。如果我看到有其他的问题的话，到时候我们再做更新。
The only condition I see on that license that's currently there is the establishment continue to meet the definition of a restaurant under Madison General Ordinance 38.02.
唯一我可以看到这个我们一般条例的条件就是说，这个企业必须要符合一个餐厅的定义。
Can I ask the applicant if she's okay with having that condition on the license?
Yes, you can.
Are you okay with having that condition on the license, applicant?
那么申请人能不能同不同意把这个条件继续留在这个申请上面？
可以。
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if my motion has been stated and presented to the body, but if not, I'll just remake my motion to approve with the condition that the establishment shall continue to meet the definition of a restaurant under MGO 38.02 at all times.
那么对于我刚刚提出的动议，我再重新提一下，就是我提出批准动议，然后再强调，就是我们麦迪逊一般法条的38.2节，也就是说，该企业要保持符合餐厅的定义，作为出批准的条件。
OK。
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor. Do we get a second on that?
I think we did.
那我们刚刚有提出批准的动议，那有没有人
I
支持
second
的？
it.
我有。
Okay, we have a second by Alder Carter. Any discussion?
那么 Alder Carter 有同意，那么有没有其他需要讨论的？
Seeing no discussion, any objections to approval?
那么没有其他需要讨论的，有没有人反对批准的？
Seeing none, item number 7 is approved. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
那没有反对，那么这一项就批准了。那谢谢，今天可以下线了。
谢谢。
Thank you.
Next up is our last item for interpretation. It's item number 10, a public hearing, new license for Taste of Szechuan Madison LLC, doing business as Taste of Szechuan at 515 State Street. Agent Dallin Lee. Do we have anyone registered for this item, Jim?
Dallin Lee is registered and in Zoom.
Okay. If they could come forward, that would be great. And are they
Already unmuted.
already unmuted? Okay. If you could give us a brief introduction of your business and what you're planning on doing at 515 State Street.
那你好，能不能给我们简单的解释一下你的就是企业，然后跟我们说一下你打算在515号 State Street 怎么个经营法？
I see they're unmuted.
Yeah, they were briefly muted again, and I just unmuted them. So maybe if
Okay.
you could repeat the question.
刚刚问题听见了吗？能不能现在听得见我们说话吗 ？Interpreter's just checking if they can hear us.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are unmuted on our end, so not sure.
You don't have an email or anything that they've sent you?
That they're having issues?
Yeah.
No. Committee, it seems like we're having some technical issues with this applicant. What is your pleasure? Do we want to put this on the table, go to something else, and see if the applicant can disconnect and call back in? Looks like they disconnected.
It looks like they just disconnected, Mr. Burchak.
Sure, I'll move tabling until we can figure out, until the applicant gets back on.
Okay.
I request that we take it up as soon as we can determine that the person is here so the interpreter doesn't have to stay till the end.
I am good with that. Does that require a second and a vote? Yep.
I think they may have logged back in under Zhu. I can see the attendees list.
Let's try unmuting them and see if that's them. Otherwise, we'll table this and see what's going on. So,
喂，
对，是大林李。
是的，
Okay, yep, we have Mr. Lee.
Success, yay. Okay, so I guess my question, I'll just restate it again, is if you could just give us a little bit of information of what you're planning on doing with Taste of Szechuan at 515 State Street, and then we'll have a few more questions for you.
那首先能不能让你先给我们简单介绍一下这 Taste of Sichuan 这个企业，就是对，给我们做一下简单的介绍，然后我们接下来会有一些问题要问。
好的，我就接手生意买卖。
Okay, so I'm taking over this business.
继续卖酒。
And then continue selling the alcohol.
对得起吗？
Have you had a neighborhood meeting?
那你有没有举办一次邻里的会议
有。
？Yes.
Did you contact the alder of the district, and what did your conversation entail?
那有没有跟你区域的市议员联系过？如果有联系过的话，那么你们交谈的内容是什么？
有联系过，他不能来。他直接说祝我们好运。
Yes, we did contact them, and they said that they weren't available to come, but they said good luck.
Mr. Bruchak.
Do you remember the name of the person you talked to?
那你记不记得你就是联系的人的名字？
我看一下。
Let me look it up.
我能拼出来给你吗？GU
Can I spell it out?
LIANA。
Interpreter's gonna ask for a repeat. 能不能再重新拼一遍
？GULIANA。
Oh, I know.
Yeah, PULIANA.
J is Jenny J。
J.
J is Jenny 的 J。
Okay. So JULIANA. Yeah.
Yep, that answers the question. Did you contact the police department district captain?
那有没有和你的区域警察局的队长联系？
有。
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Bruchak.
I said before my mic was turned on, now that that's out of the way, I just have one question. Do you plan to change anything with the way the business is run from how it used to be?
那么你接下来有没有计划更改之前的就是经营流程、经营操作的方式？你有没有计划对这方面做任何更改？
没有，跟以前一模一样。
No, it will be the same as it was before.
Ms. Carter?
Maybe I missed it, but did you buy this business?
呃，
Are
这个
you
问
the original owners?
那再问一下，就是这个餐馆是不是接手，就是从别人手上买下来的？
是的，
Yes, purchased.
Yes, they're the original owners. Is that what you just said?
That it was purchased.
That was purchased. Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, thank you. I do have a quick question. Jim, can you look up who is the alder for District 2?
Should be Alder Bennett.
Okay, I couldn't understand his spelling of the name. Thank you very much.
谢
Are
谢，
there
只是
are there any other questions for the applicant?
有没有什么其他问题需要问申请人的？
没有。
See. Attorney.
Question number 6 on the application asks if the applicant, an employee or agent are acting on behalf of anyone except the applicant, and they checked yes and said beer agent. I'd just like some clarification as to what that means.
所以申请表格上的第六个问题是问申请人是否interpret it like a repeat of what question number 6 actually says, because I don't have it in front of me.
It says, is the applicant an employee or agent of or acting on behalf of anyone except the applicant? And they checked yes, and then they wrote in beer agent.
所以这个申请表上的第6个问题问到这个就是申请人是不是除了申请人本身，是不是代表其他的员工或者是代理或者是业主，然后你有勾说是你是啤酒代理，你能不能再详细的解释一下？
我是申请人，也是业主。
So I'm the applicant and I'm also the owner.
Okay. So he's not acting on behalf of anyone else.
那所以说你不是说代表其他人？
不是。
Correct, not.
Okay, thank you.
好，谢谢。
Thank you. Jim, are there any restrictions on this license, especially being in the State Street corridor? On the
Jim,
previous license?
查一下，就是这个执照有没有任何限制，特别是因为这个餐厅的地点在 State Street 那条街上，所以这个执照有没有任何限制？
From what I can see, there are 4. The conditions are the establishment must meet the definition of a restaurant. Food service must be available at all times the establishment is open. Only background music and karaoke is permitted. And must cease alcohol sales by 10 p.m. on weekdays and midnight on weekends.
所以据我们能看到的，总共有4项限制。第一个限制是这个企业必须符合餐厅的定义。第二，在经营时间100%的时候，必须要能够提供食物。第三，只能够放背景音乐或者是卡拉 OK。最后，供酒的时间必须在平日10点终止，或者是周末的话是半夜12点终止。
我们符合要求，餐馆11点开门，晚上9点半就关门了。
Yeah, we are within those restrictions. Our operating hours are 11 a.m. and we close at 9:30 p.m.
Mr. Burshak.
I have a motion. My motion is to approve with the following conditions. Establishment shall meet the definition of a restaurant as defined by Madison General Ordinances 38.02 at all times. And 2, establishment shall have food available during operating hours.
那么我想提出一个动议，我提出的批准动议，但是要加上2条限制，就符合麦利逊一般条例38.02条，也就是这个企业必须要符合餐厅的定义，然后经营时间必须100%的时间都要提供食物。
可以。
OK。
Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I second the motion, and if I can just make a quick statement.
Yep.
I just want to share that those conditions relate to the unfortunate history we had many years ago with now 2 owners removed at this location where they were operating an illegal nightclub on the 2nd floor. As this is only a Class B beer application, and again, we're several years removed from the issues we had there, I very much support only moving forward with the more standard State Street conditions and not those second 2 restrictive ones that are on the current license. Thank you.
所以我就是投支持票，然后我想提供一些背景，因为之前在这个地点之前的企业，我们有2个业主，我们就是他们经营了非法的夜总会，所以为什么对这个地点有这方面的限制？所以接下来的话，我想只是提出头2个限制，而不是后者2个限制。因为这个申请只是申请B 级的啤酒牌照而已，而且我也很支持这家餐厅。
好的。
OK。
Committee, so we have a motion and a second for approval. Any other discussion?
那么委员会我们有一个动议是批准，然后有1票支持，有没有什么想进一步讨论的？
Ms. Farley, did you have anything?
So just to clarify, the motion does not include any restrictions?
The motion includes the MGO, must meet the definition of a restaurant and shall have food available the whole time.
Okay, thank you.
澄清一下，这个执照是不是没有任何限制？澄清答案是，这个执照有2项限制，一个是必须要符合餐厅的定义，第二，在经营时间必须所有时间都能够提供食物。
Seeing no further discussion, any objections to approval?
那没有任何需要讨论的，有没有任何反对票？
Seeing none, item 10 is approved. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
没有任何反对，那么这一项得到批准。好，谢谢，可以下线了。
Thanks, Holly.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, that brings us back to the front half of the agenda, to the operator's license. Number 3, operator's license for Cheyenne Felton. We're employed Momos. Do we have any registrants for this item?
Yep, Cheyenne is registered and here in person. If you want to come up to the... Just right down there. No. Yeah.
Yeah. That one works better. Okay. Cheyenne, if you could just introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll bring on the captain and let you know why you're before us tonight.
Sure. My name is Cheyenne. I currently work at Momo's. Main part of what I do there is serving. It's a bar, but it's also a restaurant. And this is the first time that I've been handling anything that serves liquor, so that's why I'm applying.
Okay, great. Captain Kamowski or Captain Hartman? Which one are you guys tag teaming on for us tonight?
I think it'll be me for these the operators tonight.
Okay.
So Ms. Felton was flagged in the background. As you can see in your packet, there was a few different issues. There was a 2018 charge of possession of THC and drug paraphernalia through McFarland Police with an ordinance conviction in April of 2024. In 2022, there was a possession of THC, possession of drug paraphernalia in Sauk County with the Sauk County Sheriff's Department. That was for 2 misdemeanors, and that conviction was in April of 2023. In 2022, there was a felony charge for maintaining a drug trafficking place, and that conviction was 12/18 of 2023. And in 2023, there was also possession of drug paraphernalia in Winnebago County with Oshkosh Police Department. And that was a conviction date of February of 2024, and that was 2 misdemeanors. And then you can just let me know. I do have some detail on what those are if you would like that information added.
Thank you. Mr. Bruchek.
So a question for the captain or the assistant city attorney. It looks like there's maybe a pending charge for a non-criminal offense from January of this year. Is that something we should or could consider today?
You can consider it, and it's not pending. She defaulted on it, so it is a judgment, the open intox and motor vehicle. Is that the charge you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. You can consider that.
That's a question of the applicant.
Yes.
Can you describe a little bit about the circumstances of this open intox and then also the 2022 charge, maintaining a drug trafficking place, just some background on what happened?
The open intox was right around Christmas time, so I got pulled over after I left the bar. May have smelled of liquor. I passed the field sobriety test, and so I wasn't charged with anything. But I did have a thing of liquor in my vehicle. It was something that somebody left. but I wasn't charged once again. The three cases that they're referring to in the other sense are, I was in a really bad relationship with a man for like 2-3 years and got 3 cases while I was with him, one being the maintaining a drug dwelling. They raided our house, and well, it was really mine, you know, but he lived there too, and everything that was going on there was, you know, because of him. That's not to say that I'm putting the blame on anybody else, but that's kind of what went on for a while. But he's still incarcerated. I'm not, and I haven't had anything since then. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Thank you. So just to clarify, so there was like a bottle of, say, liquor or wine or something in your back seat or in your vehicle, but you weren't like driving down the street drinking it while you were driving? Okay.
That's right. I originally got pulled over because my plates were not registered for the right time being. So that's what prompted them to pull me over, and then they found liquor in there. So like I say, I went through the field sobriety test after that and passed. I wasn't arrested, or, you know, I'm on probation as well. So they didn't find anything of it.
And you're on probation for, what is that?
So 2 of the cases have settled. The maintaining a drug dwelling is the one that I still have on me. Each one of them I got 2 years for on probation, and the last one of the third ends in December of this year.
So I'm focusing on just the 2022 charge, maintaining a drug trafficking place.
Right.
So is that the one you're still on probation for, or?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any letters, or is there anything from your probation officer that shows that you're complying with the conditions?
I mean, that's something I could probably furnish. Do I have it right now this second? No.
Okay.
But it's a restaurant too, and like I say, the most part of what I deal with there is serving.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's not all liquor, but if you are anywhere in there, you know, and they're new to the bar owning industry, so they kind of want you to have the operator's license if you can. Say you're the only person in the building. But no, I do not have a letter at this moment.
Okay. Thanks for being here. I know it's tough to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You know, it's something that I went through in my life, and thank God I'm over it, you know, and so it's kind of something that I could put in my past, and it's not, you know, the best thing to know about or talk about or have over your head at any time, you know, for the rest of my life, but it is what it is, and it's not something that I can get away from. Catching the felony, I used to be a resident assistant. I was a caregiver. I can no longer do that. So I kind of had to change my realm of where I work, and you know, a restaurant or a place of business like that is much more lenient on passing a background check, if you will. Like, you know, I'm a felon. I used to pass medications at the facility, so I can't do that no longer, and this is kind of like my new, you know, way of work, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term.
I just want to point out that it was an open intox in a motor vehicle. So it's not like she had a can of beer under the seat that they found. It was an open intoxicant. And typically people are drinking those if they are driving with them.
Sorry. Are there any other questions for the applicant? Ms. Carter?
Yeah, Cheyenne, can you tell me how long you've been working at Momo's?
Probably 4 months or so, maybe, well, maybe 5 months, October of last year.
And before that, where did you work at another restaurant?
I did. I was a server assistant for maybe a few short months at Bonefish Grill. And so, but that wasn't something that I had to have an operator's license for. But that just before that, no, I haven't worked at any other restaurant. Momo's has been the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Mr. Bruchak.
So how would you feel if we had you next week at noon and then you bring that letter from your PO?
That's fine.
Okay.
Stating,
Because we need credible evidence of rehabilitation. That's what the our guidelines.
what about a letter from, I went through AODA.
I think that would be helpful too.
Do I have to be present or can I send it to you? I can do both too. It doesn't matter to me, but
If you can be present, that's typically how we do it. Yeah. And so we can follow up after the meeting, but the operators.
Oh, sorry.
The operator subcommittee meets at noon on next Wednesday. And that'll be virtual.
that'd be okay. I can come in person too. I don't mind, but I can furnish that. And
We won't be here in person, so.
okay, well,
you have-
you shouldn't either, huh?
We'll be
We'll be
virtual.
virtual. Thank you. That's no further questions from me.
As long as I can just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I can just get your contact information and then I can send it over.
Yeah. I will say if we refer this to the subcommittee meeting, the approval wouldn't happen for an extra month because the subcommittee refers back to ALRC and ALRC then refers to the next council meeting. So it wouldn't be until May in which that would be approved. I know in the past, we have conditionally approved operators pending their submission of approval from their POs or AOD stuff as it's on its way to recommended to grant through the Common Council. So both of those exist as a means in which the committee has historically approved these with pending background support.
Ms. Farley.
I I know we have a number of topics on our agenda today. Cheyenne, if is that something that you think you would be able to get as far as like maybe not the information from your PO, but the information from the program that you went through, is that something that you would be able to get today so we don't have to refer it to next week and could potentially table it?
That's something I may be able to get today, but I can't promise it. I can do everything that I can to furnish a copy of it. But that might have to be something that comes from my PO, so, and I don't know that she'll be available tonight,
Sure.
kind of after hours, but, tomorrow, sure, yes.
Ms. Carter.
I thought I was on mute. I was just going to say that if we have done this in the past where they have to get this information to Jim prior to the council meeting on, I believe, the 25th, then I would move to grant.
Actually,
If she doesn't get the information to us, go ahead.
Actually, only the temp B was the only one going to next week's meeting. Everything else in the agenda, including this operator application, is going to the April 15th council meeting.
Okay.
So there's almost a full month for her to get that documentation. And typically, when the committee
Got it.
does have this contingent approval, I will email the alders on the committee to let them know that the applicant has satisfied the requirements that the committee has given them.
Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I move to grant condition on a letter of support submitted by the Wisconsin Department of Corrections.
We have a second by Mr. Rushak.
If I could just mention, I agree completely with Deputy City Clerk Verbeck's reminder of how we handle operator applicants who are under Wisconsin Department of Corrections supervision over the years. And so this motion is consistent with their past practices. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to grant with the caveat regarding the letter of support from the Department of Corrections that the applicant will have until the 4/15 meeting to get that into the clerk's office. Any other discussions on the motion and second that we have on the floor? Seeing none, this item is approved with those conditions. And Jim, if you can provide the applicant.
Yeah, Cheyenne, if you just want to email, I emailed you the link and how to register for the meeting.
that's
If
fine.
you
I
just
have
want to
your email.
reply to it and just send me the letter once you have it. I would recommend not waiting until the 15th,
I
but
would probably say
yeah.
the same, yeah.
If you want to have it to me like no later than the 11th of April, that should be
I'll try to
fine.
have it to you tomorrow.
I
If
w-
not tomorrow, the next day.
I would love it. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay,
Yep.
Yep.
all right. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much. Next up, we have operator license application for Shauna Majeski, establishment where employed Woodman's. Do we have any registrants for this item?
I believe Shauna is in Zoom.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hi, Shauna. If you could just introduce yourself and give us a little bit of information of what you're going to be doing over at Woodman's, and then we'll bring the captain on to let us know why we're here tonight.
Okay, so yeah, I've been working at Woodman's for about a year and a half now. I work in the liquor store department, so it is required to have a liquor license. And I'm just trying to move forward at working at Woodman's and getting that liquor license approved.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Captain, what do you have for us?
Sure. Shauna was flagged for a few different things, as in your packet. The first was it occurred in January of 2021. It was credit card theft by receipt with Columbia County Sheriff's Department. There was a conviction in March of 23 for that. It was a misdemeanor conviction. The second item was also from June of 2021, theft, movable property ×2. That was through Sauk County Sheriff's Department. That conviction was in May, of 2022. That was 2 misdemeanor convictions. In 2021, there was also a vehicle owner's liability for fleeing a traffic officer. That was a Madison Police Department case. That was a municipal forfeiture in 2022. And then that was in August. And then in October of 2021, it was a county obstructing resistant officer with Madison Police. That conviction was in June of 2022 with a forfeiture. So all of these incidents occurred in 2021, and then most had conviction dates in 2022. The latest was that first one was a conviction in 2023.
Okay, thank you. Committee, do we have questions for the applicant? Mr. Bruchek.
Okay, so can you tell us, well, first of all, thanks for joining us tonight. Shauna, can you tell us about the circumstances surrounding the identity theft charge?
Yeah, I am more than happy to explain everything to you. So, my mother, who is currently sitting in prison for identity theft for 20 years, she was my only role model, my only go-to, and she was kind of showing me these things, and she was like, "Hey, Shauna, let me take your car and let me go to a few gas stations." I was like, no, Mom, you are on a lot of drugs. Like, she was addicted to meth. 1 second, guys. My kiddo is using the bathroom. Sorry, guys.
If you want to take a second, I have a clarifying question for the captain.
Okay, sounds good.
So on the form we have here, it says 2021 Columbia County identity theft. I'm trying to reconcile the form with the CCAP, and I'm having trouble. I don't see
Yeah,
the.
I was as well, because we also didn't get any reports unfortunately provided to us from Columbia County. And so I am not exactly sure. I know that conviction showed that with CCAP, it was a 1-year probation sentence for that. The ones I do have the background on, were the theft movable property ×2 was a backpack that had been stolen at a water park resort, and a credit card was used in that. And then the other two, the vehicle owner liability for fleeing, that was when Shauna's vehicle was used, was fleeing from an officer. And Shauna stated that she did not know who had been using her vehicle. And then the other one was also that there was an individual that was in her vehicle that fled and tried to run. And it was reported that Shauna then stood in front of the officer trying to block them from running after that other subject. So that is unfortunately all the details that I have in that Columbia County one. I don't have any further detail.
Okay, so Shauna, whenever you're ready, you can continue discussing that.
Oh, so I think she's talking about two different situations. So the Columbia County one was a year probation, and that turned into a misdemeanor. And then a different situation where I did not personally flee an officer. It was at the time my boyfriend, my child's father. He was the one that was fleeing an officer and then ran from the police officer. I do admit that I did step in front of the police officer because I didn't think that he was going to hurt me, or that he understood that I was pregnant at the time, and all I was really thinking about was keeping my family together in that moment. I was young, I was dumb, I did a lot of stupid stuff. And, I was also homeless. So I was trying to get help and support and money the only way that I really knew, because that's how my mom showed me. But all of that has been in the past. I've been off of probation. I got off early on probation. I'm still paying in restitution, still to this day, comes out of my taxes. And I make payments when I can.
Wait, walk me. Wait, walk me.
The Columbia County stuff, that is, oh no, I'm sorry. The Columbia County stuff is when my mom and my baby daddy, they're using methamphetamines, but I did not feel safe for them to take my car without me. So I took my car to that gas station. I did not go inside the gas station when they were purchasing stolen items. I didn't even know what they're going there for. And honestly, I didn't really care. I don't like drama. So I took them to the gas station, and one thing led to the next. And I was like, guys, this is absolutely not okay. I really wanted to take that case to trial, to plead that I was innocent in that whole thing. But I didn't want to put my mom in jeopardy, or at the time, I didn't want to put my baby daddy at jeopardy either. Looking at it now, I probably should have done it, because it's just biting me in the butt right now. Royal, this is important for me.
Ms. Carter.
Yeah, thank you. So, Shauna, do you need a liquor license to work in the liquor store?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you've worked there before, correct?
I've been working there for a year and a half total so far. At September, it will be coming on 2 years.
So you worked there for a year and some months without having this license.
Exactly. Yeah. We have new management at the store now, and they are requiring all of us to have a liquor license.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Hey,
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Committee, what is your pleasure? Oh, Mr. Bruchak.
Question
Yep,
for staff. So, am I seeing this right? She's actually not been convicted of any felonies. Only, she only has her felonies charged, dismissed, but read in. Does that look like what you guys are seeing?
I have no felonies. There's just misdemeanors.
But you did check. It says on the application form. On this form, there's a question, since your 17th birthday, have you ever been convicted? Oh, never mind. Okay.
So let's have that, Shauna, we're not going to have any questions for you right now. Let's have the city attorney or the police captain answer that question from their perspective.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll put myself on mute.
Yeah, thank you.
There is no felony convictions.
Okay. All right. That's no further questions from me.
Okay. Committee, are there any other questions for staff or any discussion that we need to have around this? Seeing none, Mr. Bruchak. You say that again.
I move approval.
And I second it.
So we have a motion for approval and we have a second. Any discussion?
I don't really have a discussion. I just feel that it is so incredibly hard in this life that when you take a wrong turn, it continues to follow you until you're 6 feet under. I think that in all of our cases, especially with the operators, that I commend them for turning their life around, but I also would like to see accountability that you did take a wrong turn. And I'm just saying this in general. In my community work, I see this every day. And those of us who are on the right path for most of our lives, we're the lucky ones. Thank you.
I definitely do appreciate hearing that. I have been working very hard to turn my life around, not just for me, but for my kiddo mostly. I just found out that he's autistic, so that's been my number one goal, to get him into all the therapies that I could help him and us succeed together.
So we have a motion and a
I
second.
thought we were in discussion. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I mean, do we have any other discussion around this item? Because I didn't see any other hands up, so we have a motion and a second. Any objections to approval? Seeing none, this item is approved. Thank you, Shauna. This will go before the City Council on the 15th of April. Up next, we have a 21-plus entertainment license for Trek Hospitality LLC, doing business as the Mansion Hill Inn. at 424 North Pinckney Street. Do we have any registrants for this item?
Yes, Terrence Barrett is registered and in Zoom.
Okay. Terrence, welcome tonight. If you could introduce yourself and give us an idea of what you're wanting to do over at Mansion Hill with this license. He's unmuted. So let's see.
Terrence, you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you.
Oh, I was just wondering if he could try. I don't remember how you do it on your phone. Dial in.
Terrence, we can't hear you. I don't know if you want to try reconnecting or calling in your phone.
Yep, he dropped. Let's give him a moment to come back real quick and Jim a moment to catch his lung. That ran off.
While we're waiting, I noticed that on the consent agenda, I made an error. Our June meeting is actually the 18th, not the 25th. I don't know if we need to make motions to correct that or if we're okay with it just being a clerical error and we understand that the regular meeting for June is the 18th.
I have no idea what we need to do. Attorney Zillivi, is there anything we need to do?
Say that again, Jim, what you referenced in
Yeah.
terms of June.
On the consent agenda, I said the regular June meeting is the 25th, but it's actually the 18th. So when we referred the ordinance change, I said the 25th.
Oh, I think it's fine because it is, I mean, it's forever the third Wednesday of the month,
Sure.
so I think that's fine.
Cool.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, awesome. Sorry about that.
So did you hear me earlier? We'll just,
I had just heard of the technical difficulties and that I was unmuted and needed to unmute myself and to call in. That was the last thing that I heard before I left
okay.
and rejoined.
So Terrence, if you can introduce yourself and let us know what you're planning on doing over at Mansion Hill with the 21 plus entertainment license.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mansion Hill Inn is a 10-room boutique hotel that was purchased by Trek in 2008. I've been the general manager there for about 2 years now. And we are running a jazz and cocktails program, and we're looking to expand into other concert style events. We're, looking at around 50 capacity events there. And that's really why we wanted to apply for this license, just to make sure we're in compliance.
Okay, great. Are there any questions for Terrence?
I have one.
Okay.
You've been having live entertainment for quite some time, correct?
Yes, that's correct. With jazz and cocktails.
Were you unaware that you needed an entertainment license?
Yes, we were unaware. We've been having weddings and various other events that would close by 11 p.m. We've talked to our neighbors on either side of the building, but the 21 plus entertainment license was something that we pursued once I had taken up the GM position. I think the last time we applied for it was sometime last year as well, but we had missed the meeting, so we're just trying to get back into compliance here.
Okay, thank you.
Committee, are there any other questions for the applicant? Mr. Burjak.
Hi, thanks for being here. Have you spoken to Alan Irvine or anyone from the neighborhood association about this request?
No, we haven't spoken to the neighborhood association. I reached out to Alder Bennett and then the police captain as well for our district and got approval. But we did hang the orange sign in our window. But we have not had a formal neighborhood meeting of any kind.
And Terrence, have you contacted zoning and what did they have to say?
For zoning in regards to the license application, I wasn't aware that was a requirement. I had just seen the requirement of contacting the alder, the police captain, and then posting the orange sign for a neighborhood association meeting.
Okay, because one of the things on the application under the security plan is a checkbox for I have contacted zoning and their email address and their phone number for any necessary approvals. Because usually.
Okay. Oh, sure. So I suppose I just misunderstood that part of the form, since it does say any necessary approvals. I assume that the alder or police captain would direct me in that direction. But I have not contacted zoning in regards to that outside of getting the form and filling it out in that regard.
I will say that we
so is
have
that something that would be necessary to move forward? Sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah, we do have that on the agenda, or on the application, not that it holds you up from ALRC, but typically zoning can sometimes be the biggest hurdle to overcome, and it's helpful to get that process started early in case you need like a conditional use permit or something like that, or if you're even allowed to have an entertainment license at that location. So I would encourage you to after this meeting, if the committee recommends to grant your license, that you get started early with contacting zoning and seeing if there's anything special that you need to do for that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. I'll be happy to do that.
To be clear, if ALRC approves it and zoning has some conditions or they don't approve it, you can't use the license until you get that approval from zoning. We can't issue the license until that process is complete.
Sure, that makes sense.
Mindy, are there any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, are there any more questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, committee, what is your pleasure? What would you like to do with this request? Mr. Brushock.
Move approval.
Second.
So we have approval and a second on the table. Any discussions on that? Seeing none, any objections to approval? Seeing none, this item is approved. Terrence, you are conditionally approved. Make sure you get a hold of zoning.
I definitely will. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Up next, we have item number 8, a public hearing for new license for the Atwood Music Hall LLC, doing business as Atwood Music Hall at 1925 Winnebago Street. Agent Christophus for Christensen. Jim, do we have any registrants?
Yeah, right here.
Okay. And it looks like you're in person. Yes. If you could introduce yourself and let us know what you're planning to do over on Winnebago Street.
Yeah, my name is Christopher Christensen. Everyone calls me Topher, so I go by Topher Christensen. I'm the owner of Atwood Music Hall, which will be an event, entertainment, and an event and entertainment space on Winnebago Street. We plan on presenting concerts, arts, performances, and private events.
Let me just get up what I need. And have you contacted, have you had your neighborhood informational session?
Yeah, it was last week, yeah.
Okay, contacted the neighborhood association?
Yes, yep.
And the alder?
Yep.
And have you been in contact with the police captain of the district?
Yes, Captain Hartman.
Okay. Committee, what questions do we have for Topher?
Hi. Thanks for being here. You said it's going to be like a music venue?
Yeah, music venue. I will present music, comedy, and then private events.
Are you going to apply for an entertainment license?
I applied for a theater license because I wanted to be able to do some all ages shows.
Okay.
And so that application is currently pending.
Great, and we don't see that.
Not today, no.
They go right to council.
What kind of experience do you have in this type of business?
I'm a co-owner of the Burr Oak Music Venue, which is down the street. I've owned that for 5 years, and then I've been booking concerts for over 20 years around the country. So I have a lot of experience.
Great. So you know about all of the past few years, more so downtown, there's been issues with underage fake IDs and things like that, and so I can assume you're up to date on the standards of best practice related to
Definitely. At
checking
Burr Oak,
age.
We've had no problems with that or with noise complaints or neighborhood issues as well. So there's a history for me in the neighborhood already being a good business owner.
Thank you. No further questions from me.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Attorney Zilliby? Did you have?
Item 15 on the application was left blank, and that asks whether you've completed the responsible beverage server training course.
Resubmitted a new copy this week. I don't know why that wasn't submitted, but yes, I did complete that, and I sent in a new PDF with the omitted information. So there should be a current one somewhere here.
Oh, it may be updated and I didn't see it.
Yeah, you probably didn't get the updated version.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did attach it into the legislative file.
Any other questions for the applicant? Any questions for staff? Seeing none, committee, what is your pleasure? Mr. Brushock.
I didn't hear from anyone who wants to do conditions, so I guess I'll just move approval.
I second.
So we have a move for approval and a second. Any discussions on that? Seeing none, any objections to approval? Seeing none, this item is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am a huge fan of the Burr Oak.
Thank you.
I love that venue.
Thanks
I
so much.
can't wait for this one.
All right, appreciate it.
Up next, we have.
Mayor,
Yes.
I need a 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Because if I leave, you're gonna lose quorum.
Yep. I haven't done a recess in a really long time. Okay. So I'm going to say that Ms. Carter made a motion for a 5-minute recess. Ms. Farley, are you seconding that motion?
Seconded, yes.
Any objections? Seeing none, we are recessed for 5 minutes. Thank you. Ms. Carter, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Is Alder Revere back? Not yet. We're still on break.
Alder Revere, are you present?
I'm here.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, let me do a roll call vote, or a roll call. Alder Revere is present. Mr. Rushik? Ms. Rushik is here. Ms. Farley?
Present.
Ms. Farley's here. Ms. Westra?
Here.
And Ms. Carter.
Present.
Chair, we have quorum.
Yay, and we're back.
And thank you very much.
We are back from our short break. Up next, we have the public hearing for a new license for Rotunda Cafe LLC, doing business as the Rotunda Cafe at 1965 Atwood Avenue, with Melissa Schofhart. Do we have any registrants for this item?
Robert Cruz is registered and present here.
Okay. Hello, Robert. If you could introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what you're planning on doing over at the Rotunda.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. My name is Robert Cruz. I'm one of the owners of Rotunda Cafe. It is Melissa Scheckert, who's also my wife and technically my boss, as well as I'm one of the new owners of the Weary Traveler Free House at 1201 Williamson Street. We purchased Rotunda Cafe nearly 2 years ago with a joint partnership with Lake Ridge Bank, as it is located inside the bank. We've been operating primarily as a coffee shop and eatery for this time. We are applying today in hopes of attaining a liquor license, at which point we would expand our menu slightly, and over time gradually look to expand hours. We do have aspirations to also be a live entertainment venue. We do a lot of community events currently. We do feel we're strained a little bit with our ability to accommodate certain things. I will also note I am on the Wilmar board, the Wilmar Community Center, and I am the president of the Marquette Neighborhood Business Association. I work closely with SASE as well as the MNA, various community organizations, including Commonwealth Development. In the interest of fundraising efforts in particular, I've learned since moving back to Wisconsin a few years ago, a great way to garner revenue, especially in these things, is to offer alcoholic beverages. Again, we are currently existing as a coffee shop. We are currently open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. We do open for special community events, such as gallery night. We do open on special hours for that. We would, again, like to expand over time, and we believe as a an ownership group and also just as somebody who exists in the neighborhood, that this is necessary for, I guess, our advancement and sustainability in the community.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of the general questions.
Yep.
Did you have the information session?
I did, yes, on the 10th. I guess, I don't want to say presumptive Alder Davy Meyer was present for that.
Okay. And did you contact your current alder?
I did, multiple times, have not received a response. I do have a record of that. Also, recently I did hold meetings for SASE as well as M&A at Rotunda.
Okay.
I know she works closely with them, and these things were agenda items in the recent months.
Okay, and did you contact the police captain of the
I did.
district? Okay. Committee, what questions do we have for the applicant? Let's see, who am I missing? Ms. Carter?
Yes, I didn't hear most of what you said because you kept turning your head away from the microphone. But on your application, you have Kyle Martin is an owner of your restaurant or coffee shop and the Weary Traveler. Is
Correct.
that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, so with this liquor license, you're still gonna have your hours 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.?
Eventually, we will expand. That is our hope. Again, I'll use an example. Let's say somebody wants to do a private event, or we book a concert. Once a license is procured for such a thing, we would start off by opening specifically for that. We've kept our hours of operation for the same for a year and a half. We do plan to do so. Again, we, even just with the Weary Traveler, we recently expanded hours. We, I guess as an ownership group, tend to go slow and sustainable. So I don't see a scenario that exists to where, let's say I were able to procure a liquor license, that I would just change hours of operation immediately. I don't see a need or a desire for that at this time. However, for instance, let's say gallery night, I do believe is with Mocha, and that's May 16th. If we did have a liquor license at that time, the event would probably go until 9 o'clock. I would welcome the opportunity to serve alcohol in that scenario, but not be open until 9 o'clock the rest of the days of the week.
Okay, so this is what I believe you said, that you're going to keep your hours. However, for maybe private parties, whether it's birthday parties, whatever, you would be open for that. And then for events in your area, you would be open for that.
Correct.
But not on a regular basis. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
If we don't have any plans on changing our business model drastically, I do believe staying open later on a continuous basis is something that we would like to work up to. And then also, for instance, That Wood Music Hall, who was the previous item, is directly across the street. There's another example, if they are having a concert or a comedy performance, I know they start in June. It would be nice to, on those nights, I can see us opening up for those as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I get it now.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? City Attorney Zillaby.
Thank you. Have you already had any conversations with the fire department?
Yes, I have. I've been working directly with Amanda Horning. She was on the premises 2 days ago, where we met with the owner of the building, which is Sarah Investments, as well as Lake Ridge Bank. I've been in constant contact with her for the better part of a week.
Are you aware that they believe the building needs to be sprinkled?
I am aware of that, where it comes down to the occupancy being 150, which is what the city rated the bank at, I believe in 2020 when they did the remodel. That was the occupancy that was granted, and the previous fire inspector signed off on that, Doug. Right now, we left it as of 2 days ago, that she said that we needed to go through the building inspector. I guess it's Carrie Olson. Carrie Olson right here says I need to reach out to the inspector once the application moves through successfully at the ALRC meeting. There is I would say, a slight point of contention on whether or not, I guess in the city's words, whether or not the occupancy of 150 was an error on the city of Madison's part. I certainly would not suggest that, as I was not part of those proceedings when they originally got their occupancy in 2020. And then the current state being with, I'm going to misquote the code, so I'm not going to say it, but a building with 99 or less would not need a sprinkler system. So I do know that whatever the results are of this, I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking to Amanda and Carrie, as well as the owner of the building, to see what needs to happen to further expound upon that. I will say that because it is also a bank, the occupancy was given as it's according to the city, it's a bank with an incidental coffee shop, which would be my coffee shop. I think I'd welcome the opportunity to have the building inspector down there as soon as possible, just so we can, I guess, go over any hurdles or answer any questions or figure out where we stand.
Okay, because the fire marshal represented to me that you did need to have the building sprinkled. So if that is the case and they approve the license, it wouldn't be able to be issued until you had the building sprinkled.
Correct. The conversation that we did have with her 2 days ago said that, however, if the occupancy was deemed to be less than 100, then that would not be an issue. And then I do believe the building owner did bring up the question of what has changed the city's mind when the occupancy that we are currently operating under, which is 150. What has changed in that time?
Well, I think nothing's changed. I think it should have probably been sprinkled back then, but somehow that didn't happen. And if you're if you're going to be going with less than 100, you'll need to obviously stick to that number.
Absolutely. I personally don't believe it's necessarily a game changer. If it's a code issue or whatever needs to happen, I do believe that the owner of the building, we seem to have a good relationship with Amanda. And once we get the building inspector in there to figure out what needs to be done, and I believe that everybody seems to be working together to make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, are there any questions for staff? Committee, what would you like to do? Mr. Burshak.
I'd like to move approval.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have move approval and a second by Ms. Carter. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, any objections to approval? Seeing none, item 9 is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you have not gotten a chance to check out the Rotunda Cafe, it's a cute, great, interesting little spot.
Thank you for saying that.
I've only been in there once.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think it was just once, but it was so unique how it was set up with the bank and like the different rooms and where you could go, and it'd be a great place to remote work.
Yes.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Let's see. Moving on to item number 11, a public hearing for Hotbox LLC at 1925 Monroe Street. Do we have any registrants for this item?
Yes, Xavier Fuller and Doug Carlson are both registered in support. Xavier is wishing to speak. Douglas is available to answer questions.
Okay.
And Douglas is with the Neighborhood Association.
Okay, and Xavier, I see, is in Zoom. Let's see if he works today. Xavier, can you? Okay, excellent. We got one to work. Xavier, if you could introduce yourself and let us know what you're planning on doing over there on Monroe Street.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Xavier Fuller, co-owner at Hotbox. What we'll be having there will be the fireside kitchen. We'll be doing Jamaican classics, along with some American cuisine. So we'll be having the jerk chicken, we're going to be having curry goat, oxtails, rice and beans, and so forth. And then we'll be having burgers. And we're going to have a full service bar, which is why we are applying for the liquor license as well.
Okay. Thank you. Just looking at the information that we have in our packet, I see you met with the Neighborhood Association and you met with the alder of the district, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and did you have a conversation with the police captain of the area?
I did make a call to Captain Jason Friedman and left a message. I also got in contact with Deputy City Clerk Jim Verbrick. And so, yeah, we got in contact with them. Police, yeah, I called the police and we're waiting for them to give us back a call back.
Committee, what questions do we have for the applicant? Ms. Carter, sorry about that. Okay, Ms. Carter, are you on mute?
Of course, I'm muted. You're opening from 12 to 12 a.m. Sunday through Saturday. And one of the letters that came in from the Violus Neighborhood Association had said that let me see if I can find it, but they strongly suggested that you close at 11.
Yeah, we have gotten in contact with the elders, and we've changed that. They have notified us of the decision. We have met with them, and we're going to be closing at 11. So our operation will be from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay, so can we get that application corrected?
So, I think Doug should be on here too.
Talking to Jim if he would correct it to 11.
Sure.
Thank you.
And can you just repeat what those hours are going to be again?
2 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay, but
So
you have,
we'll be open for the lunch period until 11 p.m.
is it 2 p.m. or is it 12 noon? Because that's what you have on your application.
So okay, yeah, that's okay.
Well, because 2 p.m. is not lunch hour.
Yeah, so 12 till 11 will be the operation. 11 p.m.
I have no further.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair.
Question, Steve.
So one question just on the closing time, Mr. Fuller. So given your response to Ms. Carter, I presume you have no objection to a condition on your license related to the closing time?
No, we are okay with that time that we are given.
Okay. And to confirm again, that would be 11 p.m., 7 days a week.
Uh,
11 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And then the other area I wanted to explore in your application, you say that you are interested in live entertainment and specifically mentioned disc jockeys, but you have not made an application for an entertainment license at this time. Is that correct?
We had dropped off that application actually earlier today. We had paid for it. We submitted the application and paid for it earlier today.
What application is that?
For the entertainment license.
The 21 plus entertainment license or the 18 plus entertainment license?
21 plus.
Okay. Technically, as a bona fide restaurant, honestly, it doesn't make a difference because you would be able to have underage persons in a bona fide restaurant in any event. But there are restrictions with the 18 plus license on top of the 21 plus entertainment license. So you will be back before us at our meeting next month to request the entertainment license. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, you don't have to go into a lot of detail now since you'll be doing that at our next meeting, but could you just briefly describe how often you plan to have live entertainment? And was this discussed at the Vilas Neighborhood Association meeting?
Just probably once a week. It's just that as it pertains to having a DJ, we would need it. So to make sure that we are covered and within the rights and the laws, we applied for it.
It would be a DJ once a week?
Yep.
And was this discussed at the neighborhood association meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I presume that.
As well as possible having like games night there, like a trivia, and also getting a pool table in the restaurant area as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. If they ask if I want to do. I have a question. If I can put that forward.
Yes, but yes, you can.
What are the hours do you guys have there in the area for the New Year's for operation?
So for New Year's Eve or?
Yep. For New Year's Eve, like what are the hours allowed to operate for that day?
Okay, Mr. Bruchek.
Are you asking what are the hours that you would be allowed to operate on New Year's Eve?
Yes, because in some places it's different, and that's why I'm asking for clarity.
I think I know the answer, but I can defer to someone else.
But
If you have a condition on your license that you have to close at 11 p.m., that's what time you have to close.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? See none. Any discussion? Mr. Bruchek.
If I recall, I think we've created an exception to our for the closing hour condition for New Year's Eve for a different place at the applicant's request. Definitely not normal, but I think I remember that.
I do not recall. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question of Doug Carlson. I see that he is in Zoom. If we could promote him so he could answer a question or two, please.
Good evening. I'm available.
Good evening, Doug. Thank you for being regular at our meetings. Your dedication as president of the Vilas Neighborhood Association does not go unnoticed.
My pleasure.
All these years. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is maybe to give you a night off next month. Did you wish to share what the input was of you and your fellow neighbors relating to live entertainment at this establishment, realizing that it will be before us again next month?
Yeah, it was not discussed in detail. We noticed that comment on the application, and we asked about it. We noted that would require a separate license that had not been applied for yet. So we requested of the owners to contact us if they were going to file for an entertainment license. So no, we did not discuss that in any detail at all.
I see. So there will be a future meeting or at least electronic discussion and vote likely of VNA.
I'm sure that will garner some discussion with our experience with DJs at establishments in the neighborhood previously.
Great. Thank you. And then my main question, more to the point of what we have before us this evening, Doug, is the condition that VNA has requested. As you know, as a regular observer of us, our typical position is not to have a bona fide restaurant be conditioned to close at a time certain, but rather that alcohol sales shall cease by a time certain, and have the applicant agree to that, since it would be more restrictive than state statutes allow. And I do note that the Tacos and Tequila LLC existing license is worded that way, where the current condition is alcohol sales cease by 10 p.m. daily. So I just wanted to confirm, obviously, as Ms. Carter stated, your correspondence is in our record here. and you do use the word closing time in that. So could you just confirm, are you comfortable with, for past practices here, including the current license at this premise, that we simply say alcohol sales cease by 11 p.m.? Or was the discussion among the neighborhood association that you want it more restrictive, and no food can be sold after 11 p.m. as well?
No, that would be acceptable to us, to have alcohol sales cease at 11 p.m.
Okay, great. That's what I had figured. Thanks very much, Doug.
Thanks for the clarification.
Appreciate
We
you always.
appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Sure.
Alder Revere, if you'd like to just put the motion together, that'd be awesome.
All right.
Oh, he's breaking up.
Agnostic on New Year's Eve, so that maybe that'll be a.
Yeah, Alder Revere, you're breaking up. Can you try turning your video off? See if that helps with your bandwidth at all? I think he's now frozen.
The condition that alcohol sales shall cease by 11 p.m. nightly.
Alder Revere, can you start over again? You broke up on us, so all we got was the last half of what you just said.
I apologize for
No
the internet
problem.
issues at my residence here. I formally move to grant the license with the condition that alcohol sales shall cease by 11 p.m. nightly.
And that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
I stated earlier, but I guess you didn't hear me, that I'm agnostic on the issue of New Year's Eve. I have no objection to that if there's an interest in making an exception in terms of alcohol sales on New Year's Eve. You.
Mr. Bruchak just seconded the motion.
I'll second the motion, but I'd like to clarify with the applicant if he was requesting some kind of exception for New Year's Eve, and if that's why he asked that question.
Yes.
Yes, if possible.
Okay. So then I'll ask unanimous consent that we amend the motion to read, with the exception of, maybe Alder Revere knows a good way to state this. With the exception of January 1st, with the exception of the December 31st, then that condition just doesn't apply on that date. But would it apply on January 1st? And then they would have to close at midnight. I'm not sure.
Because technically at midnight it is.
Right. It would if the exception goes away, if we word it in such a way that it goes away January 1st, then they would have to close at midnight. We can just say with the exception of January 31st and December 1st. Or January, sorry.
It's New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve.
Chair, I have no objection to adding the phrase "with the exception of New Year's Eve" to the motion.
Any discussion on the motion and the second? Seeing none. Any objections to approval? Seeing none, item 11 is approved as so amended. Thank you
Thank
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Next up, our last license of the evening for Mr. Peruvian Cuisine LLC at 225 King Street. Do we have any registrants for this item?
Yes, Cynthia Garcia is registered and in Zoom.
Hi, Cynthia. Welcome, and thank you for waiting us out this evening. If you could introduce yourself and let us know what you're planning to do over there on King Street.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Garcia, owner of Mishki Peruvian Cuisine LLC. We have our first location on 4604 Monona Drive for 3 years. A second location on Cayuga, Middleton, downtown for 1 year. And we're planning to open a third location here at 225 King Street. And so far, 3 years of running the business with 0 violations.
Okay.
Sorry, and let me continue with this. And I'm planning to open a Peruvian restaurant and offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just want to let you know there's a typo on the application because it says we're planning to offer 70% alcohol and 30% food. And we have in the application a 75% food, 20% alcohol, and 5% other, which is going to be coffee and Peruvian grocery.
Okay. Jim, are you able to modify that?
Yeah, you said it was 75% food, 20% alcohol, 5% other?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and have you met with the neighborhood association of the area?
I gave them a call. I left a message, but I wasn't able to talk to them yet. But so far, I talked to Alder Revere with Captain Kip Harden.
Okay, great. Committee, what questions do we have for the applicant? Let's see, Ms. Carter.
Yes, I just was wondering if you have any security plans for this area?
No.
In your restaurant or outside of your restaurant? What plans do you have? Because I don't see them.
I have no security plan.
Interesting. Okay.
Mr. Bruchak.
Thanks. So, just to follow up on that last question, do you have experience in this business already, and will you bring your experience with security and ID checking from other businesses, that background, and apply it to this one?
Yes.
And those other restaurants are similar in the sense that they're both restaurants that serve alcohol, not like a different type of establishment that sells alcohol.
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions from me.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Alder Revere.
Thank you. It's good to hear your voice again, Cynthia. Can you all hear me fine now?
We can.
Great. Cynthia, I was just curious for an update. Maybe it's just for my own parochial interest, but in terms of your estimated opening date and your further thoughts on lunch being served since we last talked. Are you still planning to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
That is correct. We are planning to open every day at 7 in the morning. We're going to be serving breakfast until 2 p.m., but we're also going to be offering our lunch and dinner starting at 11 a.m. And we're going to open from Sunday through Thursday until 9 and Friday and Saturday until 10.
And when will you be opening?
Sorry, March 31st, on Monday.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm very excited. As I told you individually, personally, welcome to the downtown. I know it's been a dream of yours to open a restaurant downtown, and I'm happy to see that your dream is being fulfilled here.
Thank you very much. It's a dream for me as well.
Best of luck to you, and I look forward to visiting you soon. If there are no further questions, sure, I'm pleased to move to grant.
We have no one else in the thing, and we have a second by Mr. Burshak. Ms. Carter, were you asking a question or going to second the motion?
I was going into discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, so let's discuss.
I am very concerned that anytime you invite the public in to whether it's a restaurant or a tavern, anything can happen. And not having any kind of security plan when you are dealing with the public concerns me. Now, by security plan, I'm not suggesting security with a company with the name security on their t-shirt, but some kind of security plan I think is pertinent for anybody who's opening up an establishment where the public goes. That is my concern about this, because Cynthia immediately said, I have no security plan. Thank you.
With the discussion of that, you know, if a security plan is something that we would expect restaurants to have, then we should have something on our license to ask for what they would be doing with that. I guess my assumption is if they have a licensed agent, they've gone through the safe serving, they're responsible for making sure things are properly done, especially when it's specifically a restaurant and not a tavern.
Can I say something?
Alder Verveer.
Thank you. I appreciate Ms. Carter's concerns about public safety downtown. And so I was thinking that perhaps we should recall the applicant and ask an additional question or two in that area, Chair.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you. So Cynthia, why don't you go into a little more detail, please, about your track record in both Middleton and Monona, and in terms of, have you had any security issues, safety issues there, your relationship with the police department in those jurisdictions perhaps would be of interest to us.
Yeah, I'm more than happy, first of all, to say if there is a guideline or something that I can follow in order for me to make a plan for security, I'll definitely gonna do it. I was trying to follow every single step they were asking in order to apply for the license. Second, I had zero violations on the 3 years that I'm running the business. But I can tell you, the only thing I can say is based on the serving alcohol, we're very strict and we don't serve intoxicated people. And the only thing I always tell my employees is if something happened, First, I'm the first person. I'm like the 24/7 for the restaurant at each location. And second, we call 911.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we do have our newly minted Central Police District Commander with us tonight, and we'll be welcoming him momentarily. I hope after this agenda item. But Cynthia, did you say you actually did have a conversation with Captain Hartman?
Correct.
And could you share how that conversation was? And we'll ask the captain to then share his perspective as well.
So yeah, the first time I called him, well, I've tried contact like 3 times to the police department at the phone number that I have here. So Captain Angela is not longer working there. That's what I was told. And when Captain Hartman called me and said he had no documentations of the restaurant yet. So the next time, I believe he called me or sent me an email that he got my information and he had no further questions.
Thank you, Cynthia. Chair, could we ask Captain Hartman if you'd like to share any thoughts on this application then now, please?
Yes, Captain Hartman.
Thank you. In reviewing the application and the business plan and the prior experience, I didn't see any things of concern that stuck out to me right away. So when I made a phone call, had no further questions or anything for follow-up.
Thank you, Captain. Yeah, thank you, Chair. No further questions.
Is there any other discussion? So on the floor, we have approval of item number 12 with a second. Seeing no further discussion, is there any objections to approval? Seeing none, item 12 is approved. Thank you, Cynthia. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up is we have item number 13, adopting the updated elected and appointed official code of ethical conduct. So Jim, in these situations, we've only done this a couple of times with items like this. Is this, we just accept it with a motion?
I don't, Alder Rivera's hand up, maybe you can.
Alder Rivera.
Thank you. I'd actually move to table this item to allow for the report of the Madison Police Department to immediately be taken up at this time so that we can don't have to keep our 2 friends from the MPD command staff with us for the discussion about ethics code.
Okay. We've got a second. Any objections? Seeing none, we'll move on to the report of the Madison Police Department.
So, as I had talked about, I'll just start the last time that we had met. Captain Kip Hartman is the new captain of the Central District. I started, and he started a couple of weeks ago as I started my assistant chief position. So I wanted to be here just to introduce him. I know that he is excited to be here, and I wanted to just kind of give him the kind of intro to what this meeting entails and let him introduce himself, and wanted to say to all of you that I've enjoyed my time here, and please, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
And just to go by quick way of introductions, yes, I'm Kip Hartman, and I've been with City of Madison PD now for going into my 20th year, and excited to be working now in the Central District, taking command. I thank Assistant Chief Kamaski for showing me the ropes here and getting me underway here as I now work with everyone here. Looking forward to working with everybody, and I think everybody has my information, my email, etc. please feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. Any questions at this time?
Alder Verveer.
Yep. Thank you very much. And I'll just begin by stating the obvious. As we said last month at the meeting, Assistant Chief, we very much congratulate you on your well-deserved promotion. And thank you very much for your service to this committee. And we're going to miss working with you in this venue. And then obviously a warm welcome and congratulations on your well-deserved promotion, Captain Hartman. And we look forward to welcoming you as the official Chief's representative to the ALRC and look forward to working with you. So I do have a question, and I don't know which one of you might be the best to address it. And in fact, even Assistant City Attorney Zillivi might be able to weigh in as well. But it's my understanding that there was a recent meeting with license holders in the downtown area, or at least the campus entertainment district. Could you share a summary of that meeting, what topics were covered, and your perspective of how that meeting went?
I know one of the recent meetings, and Attorney Jennifer Zillivi was there for the one that I am referring to. There was a safety meeting where both Madison Fire and MPD were able to speak to the things that they would be looking for in bars as far as safety goes, whether it's crowd sizes, weapon screening, also looking for underage drinkers, different various ways to look at keeping things from turning bad in those businesses, if you will. So making sure that they have properly trained people that are screening at the doors, whether they need to be screening for weapons and stuff like that. But then also simple things such as making sure that they have a licensed bartender on duty there, and also making sure that they are at the appropriate capacity. I'm not sure if that was the one that you were referring to specifically, but that was the one here recently that I attended with them.
Yes, my understanding is that there was a meeting that were only the owners, the license holders were invited to meet with city officials. I was not personally invited, so I heard about it after the fact. And
that is the meeting he's referring to.
Could you share a little more? Like, was there a good attendance? And of course, the big issue of the day, as we've talked about both at prior ALRC meetings, and I've spoken with you individually, Attorney Zillivi, are the perception of the increased nature and methods have evolved in terms of the tavern safety checks. Was that a major topic of conversation?
No, I had thought that this meeting would encourage some dialogue about that from the bar owners, but it did not. I will say that of everybody who was invited, I think everybody did show. So we had a really good show for it of the owners. My other desire in having the meeting was to let them know the tools that they needed to use in checking IDs in order to basically to provide a defense for themselves in the event that they get written up with a tavern safety inspection. And that was having a scanner and how scanners are useful not just for trying to verify whether an ID is real or not, because I think we all know at this point, most of the scanners do not adequately detect whether an ID is fake or not. A lot of the fakes will scan as if they're real IDs. And I also brought an ID checking book that in some of the recent tavern safety inspections, I've gotten the fake IDs that were confiscated. And then I went through the IDs to see if I could determine if they were fake, and then use the book to see what the book suggests for looking at on the IDs to determine if they're fake. And I thought the book was extremely helpful and had a lot of good detail and little things that they can look for that will indicate that an ID is fake. And then also suggested a black light, which helps to reveal if an ID is fake, because a lot of the IDs have things that will light up if it's a real ID. Although I will say that a lot of fakes do actually light up as well. So it is a difficult task in trying to determine if an ID is fake. And then the last thing was to tell them the statute and the Department of Revenue actually suggests that licensed establishments keep a book, which if somebody presents an ID and it looks real, but they're like, oh, I don't know, they can write that information in the book and then have the person who's presenting the ID sign the book stating that it's their valid ID. So just those different methods.
And you thank you very much, Attorney. And you said that there actually wasn't much discussion on the part of the license holders, though, in terms of wondering about the perception of the evolution of the tavern safety checks by the
Right,
central
nobody wanted to
CPT.
ask questions at the meeting.
They were all bashful because the CPT was there, I presume. huh?
Right.
Okay.
Right or wrong, what they said to me afterwards is that they were afraid of retaliation if they complained about the inspections at all. So,
Yeah. So instead, they complained to you and me, and
Yeah.
perhaps
Yep.
others. You're right. and that Chief, I see you wish to add something. So thank you very much, Chief.
Sure. Yes, I just wanted to add that I know when we had talked about this at the previous meeting. I did have a meeting. I talked with City Attorney Zillavi, and her and I had talked about some different strategies and some different things. And then I did have a meeting with the Central CPT right before Captain Hartman came into the Central District to talk with them about some different strategies, I think, moving forward, and knowing that, yes, this type of enforcement is important, but however, we do need to maintain, and we do want to maintain good relationships with our establishment owners for various reasons, obviously. And we did talk about implementing some strategies that I would like to see and was supported by Captain Hartman with regarding things like some different types of warnings to bars if they were going and seeing that a bar, let's say a crowd looked young, that they were maybe not doing a check that night, but they were finding the owners, they were finding the people on site and talking to them and saying, listen, we have some concerns about maybe that there are some people in here that are not of age, and we're not going to do a check tonight and do those things, but it's something that we'd like you to look at. We'd like you to look at your ID check practices and all of those things, and that we may be back in a few weeks. So we've implemented some things that I think and asked them to implement some things that I think prior to 2024, when there was a kind of a change in individuals in CPT and people that were kind of running that portion, the kind of tavern safety checks in those establishments, that we talked about kind of going back to some of those practices where I think there was a little bit more balance, and that we could make sure that those relationships stayed on track where they needed to be.
That sounds absolutely terrific. Thank you so much, Chief. I will add that, yeah, the relations with our license holders are important, and between the department and the license holders. But I would say more important to me, because and what I hear more complaints from actually is the community, especially the student community at UW, where they are. I am concerned about that this has strained in the last year relations between MPD and the UW student community. And so that's actually my main consideration. And just most recently, and I'm not saying I agree with this sentiment, but I saw a lot of comments about the very high profile stabbing in the 500 block of State Street last Saturday afternoon, and students commenting they can raid bars, but people are being stabbed on State Street in broad daylight kind of thing. And I'm not saying I agree with that sentiment at all, but it's out there. So I really appreciate the effort you put into this, Chief, as you were moving on to the your promotion and being assistant chief for the whole department. So thank you very much. And then just lastly, I just wanted to take the time to highlight what Deputy City Clerk sent to the committee, and that is, I don't know if any of you want to say anything about this, but that the committee is invited to attend one or both of the upcoming tavern safety trainings next month at Liquid on University Avenue. And I don't know if anyone wants to say anything about that. Obviously, Attorney Zillivi, you've presented in these trainings for a very long time. But so I don't know if you want to, for those of us that haven't attended them, obviously I've been to several of them over the years, but I don't know if you want to just in closing say something about what the trainings and if you think committee members would benefit from attending one of the upcoming sessions.
Well, I think it's always interesting to hear the dialogue back and forth between the attendees and the police and the city attorney's office. That's always interesting. And the primary focus of these tavern safety trainings that are directed at staff, so bouncers, bartenders, barbacks, not so much the owners, but we do sometimes have owners show up. But the focus of Madison Police at these in recent years has been on the safety issues in bars, how to successfully de-escalate a situation, things to be looking for, how they can stop some of that from happening by the way they manage their line, and the importance of managing their line if they do have a line outside. We touch on over-serving and who they allow into their establishment, and making some evaluations at the door in terms of who they allow in. If somebody's really drunk, obviously, well, first of all, the law says you're not supposed to allow them in, but allowing intoxicated people in just, well, first of all, they're not likely going to drink more and they're more likely to cause problems. So evaluating those kinds of things, giving advice on how to do that, and letting them know that they can use police as a resource for various things. And then, of course, we talk about checking IDs and best practices in terms of that.
Thank you for that very comprehensive overview. So I'll just say I would encourage anyone that has the time and interest to take advantage of it. We appreciate being invited. And so let me just say one last time, thank you for your service to the committee, Chief. We really have enjoyed working with you. And again, a warm welcome to you, Captain, and look forward to working with you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chair.
One question I just have, Alder Revere kind of alluded to it. It's been an unfortunate couple of weeks or so for violence in the city and downtown. And are we seeing any of that being related to the entertainment district, bar, drinking issues in the bars coming outside, that type of thing? Or is this all kind of different types of things going on in looking towards summer? We've got Mifflin coming up. We've got certain big things where bad things like to happen.
Yes. In taking over here recently, when I first started, they were discussing having some issues with large crowds after bar time and stuff like that. In doing so, we increased our staffing or started our downtown safety initiative early, about 1 week early. So we do have appropriate staffing for those things. As far as the weapons go, the stabbing on State Street, none of that had to do with any of the businesses or people associating with any of those businesses. They were more mental health related type disturbances. So we are seeing the weapons and stuff down there, but none of them have been associated yet to any particular establishment. As far as Mifflin goes, though, yeah, we are in the process of planning for that currently, staffing it appropriately for anything that might come up there.
We will all pray for rain. Any other questions for the captains? Ms. Carter?
Captain Hartman, because of, you mentioned Mifflin Street, which, never mind. But anyway, you mentioned Mifflin Street. Do we send out building inspection before the event? I don't know if it was last year, I can't remember, but there was an incident with a balcony. I'm just wondering if we send out building inspection first or previous to the event.
I don't know about previous to the event, and I don't know if Assistant Chief Kamoski can speak to that or not, but I do know that day we're always staffed with Madison Fire Department, and they are doing walkthroughs with us. I have seen them in action where they will say, there's too many people on that balcony, it is unsafe, and they try to be proactive in that kind of thing and get anybody that's on there off and make the situation safer. So we do try to work with everyone that we can possible to that way hopefully bring safety to those situations.
And yes, building inspection does go out ahead of time, usually for several weeks ahead of time, and do the best they can. Some of it is just the challenge of the way that some of that stuff is constructed, and like some where it's just like they can't, for example, with some of those porches, like they just can't see that underlying structure as well as they would want to be able to see that. And so sometimes they're looking at things and seeing what they can see and giving their best estimate on potential violations, potential safety hazards, like within reason, basically without kind of dismantling something or taking a further look. But yes, they are out there every year beforehand, trying to address things with building owners.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for the captains? Otherwise, you guys can have a wonderful evening. No longer with us. And I guess we're going to bring back up item number 13, since that's been placed on the table. Okay, Collins moved it to bring it back up. Any objection? Seconded. Any objections? Seeing none, we will now discuss adopting the updated elected and appointed official code of ethical conduct. I guess my question is, I forgot how we handled this since the last time we adopted it. So do we just accept it? I don't remember. So I'm going to look to Alder Verveer for his wealth of knowledge to tell me the best way to handle this.
Thank you for the compliment, Chair. You're close, but this is absolutely not the exact same as that previous requirement where we simply actually don't need a motion and are just presented with ethical guidelines annually for us just to acknowledge receipt of. This is different in that this is a formal referral from the Common Council to not only our committee, but as you see on the agenda, numerous other committees to give our formal input on proposed amendments to this code relating to officials' actions. The author of the resolution actually was not something that she originally had proposed, that our committee be one of the, how do I put it? I would say examples or focus groups even, but actually it was a separate member of the council, Alder Duncan, who suggested that rather than just have this referred to one committee, instead have it referred to numerous committees over the next couple of months to see if any, particularly the non-alders, the non-elected officials that serve on these numerous committees have any feedback that they would like to formally, or I guess for that matter, informally share with the council. So I don't know if, most of you have had the opportunity to read the update. It would be the underlined passages in the attached
Mike, Alder Rivera, is there
code of conduct.
is there a time of the essence on this, or would you see that it would be okay for us to refer this till next month so we get an opportunity to digest this information, since there are a lot of changes?
Yes, I was certainly going to. Yes, that's a very, I think, wise suggestion. I would share that suggestion. Share that particularly if folks haven't had the chance to digest this and read the document, perhaps thinking that it wasn't, as you were saying earlier, wasn't new, and it was just that annual review that we're asked to acknowledge receiving each year, that we would have time to do this. This actually action is not expected because it's been referred to so many committees, and actually over a several month period. This item is not actually due back to the city council for formal action at this point until August 5th. Yes, August 5th. So we have plenty of time and several meetings where we could give our formal recommendation. So a motion to re-refer this to our next meeting is totally appropriate. And I would move that unless folks would prefer other discussion at this time.
Mr. Burshak seconded the motion. I think since there
In fact, could I rudely interrupt you? I just noticed in the legislative record here that the thought was that actually the ALRC would not take this up. Apparently, legislative tracking system we call Legistar. You'll see that not that we.
Mike, you're having connection issues again?
Not that we couldn't take it up earlier, but I actually think that.
Mike?
He's breaking up. I think what he's saying is that the council on their note said the LRC is not actually scheduled to take it up until July 16th.
Oh, okay.
Until when?
July 16th.
Oh, okay. And Mike, you're frozen too. So my question is, do we think we have enough time to digest this by next month? Just throwing it out there.
I would hope so. If we could always refer it again, we will not discuss this in May because that is our renewal meeting.
Yep.
So.
Okay, just
otherwise it would go to June. But depending on what the agenda, we can refer this to April. If we don't have people here, we don't have things, we can always refer it again. It looks like what Alder Rivera was saying, we have opportunity to July to take this up. So Alder Rivera.
We'll see if you can hear me now. Is it working?
Yes. We think we figured out what you were trying to say about us not getting to do this till July.
Yes, Jim was more or less got it. As I look into Legistar, I'll just say that I think it was an error to have this pulled into our agenda for tonight in Legistar. because as I look in the legislative, again, tracking system, the actual motion at the last city council meeting was to delay this several months, and that we're not supposed to have this on our agenda until our meeting of July 16th. So based on what I'm seeing was the motion at the last council meeting when this resolution was introduced, I would move that we refer this to the ALRC meeting of July 16th.
And we have a second for Mr. Rushak. Any objections? Seeing none, item 13 is referred to the July meeting. Last but not least, Jim, what do you have for us?
Not a whole lot. The renewal information went out on March 1st to all current licensees, any license applicant that is sort of still in process, but not yet issued. And any folks that were going to this meeting and the next meeting are asked to submit renewal forms just to carry them over to the next year. Folks who have not yet been issued yet aren't required to pay anything, but anyone who's been issued, even the folks who are not issued, as far as the renewal forms go, we don't require anyone to pay anything right now. We just want the renewal forms back so we can start auditing them. They are due on April 15th. And any renewal form submitted after April 15th has a $250 late fee on it, just to encourage folks to get it in on time so we have enough time to audit them. And then anything submitted after the end of April would not be applicable, and they would have to submit a new application if they wanted to continue their alcohol service beyond that point. There's references to the late fee in the letter, another handout that says the deadline, and then myself and a lot of us have made notice of late fees on the envelope itself. So we tried to make it very clear that you need to submit stuff to us on time to avoid late fees, and you are not required to pay any fee to submit this. We can submit that electronically, in person, by the return envelope that we give them. There's many routes, and a lot of us, including myself, have emailed the renewal form to them as well. So I feel like we try to give folks as much heads up as we can. With the clerk's office having 2 staff members who are bilingual, we have allocated all of the folks who have Spanish as their primary language to these 2 folks in our office, so that way they can best communicate in their native language. We have, for the first time, translated the renewal form into Spanish, so that way they can submit that form. I have not translated into any other language because I still have concerns that a person who has no familiar knowledge of licensing would be able to translate it properly. So while we do submit the letter, we have the letter and the sort of that guidance instruction letter that says you'll have a late fee. Those have been translated into Spanish, Chinese, and I think we even have it in Korean, because I think we have a couple folks who speak Korean. We've submitted those documents, but the actual renewal form, the only thing we have it in is English and Spanish. And so we're hoping this year to see how that works with our bilingual folks being able to then interpret that and make sure that they're auditing it, and the folks who are using that in Spanish, that they're accurately explaining where it is that their premises are and things like that. Yeah. On that, I'm open for any questions you have.
So you guys finish up the election, get done with voting, and move into this.
Immediately, every
Yeah.
time.
Any other questions? See none. It's my favorite part of the night.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Any objections? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Have a good night, everyone. We're adjourned at 8:31 p.m.
Good night.